We tell ourselves stories of noble leaders, of virtuous kings and selfless heroes who rise to power by strength of character alone. We want to believe that the hands that hold the crown are clean, that the heart of a ruler is pure. But what if the greatest leaders, the most enduring dynasties, were built not on virtue, but on an entirely different foundation? What if the road to power is a dark one, littered with broken promises and necessary cruelties? Beneath the velvet and the ceremony, behind the grand pronouncements of justice and morality, a different game is being played. A game of deception, of force, of pragmatism. The game of holding on to power at all costs. Today, we will not speak with a hero. We will speak with a realist. A man who saw the world not as it should be, but as it is. A diplomat who, after losing everything, wrote a single book that would shake the foundations of leadership and ask a terrifying question. Is it better to be loved or to be feared? Niccolò Machiavelli was born in Florence, Italy in 1469, a time of artistic brilliance and brutal political intrigue. He came of age during the height of the Renaissance, but his world was one of shifting alliances, warring city-states, and constant threats of invasion. A man of letters and a sharp political observer, he rose to prominence as a senior official and diplomat in the Florentine Republic. For over a decade, he served his city with loyalty, meeting with kings, princes, and popes, and witnessing firsthand the ruthless game of power that unfolded across Europe. But his world came crashing down in 1512, when the Medici family, who had been exiled, returned and restored their rule. Machiavelli was ousted from his position, tortured, and banished from public life. It was during this enforced solitude, in exile on his small farm, that he began to write, desperately hoping to regain a place in the new government. And in this period of despair and intellectual ferment, he crafted his most notorious work, a handbook on how to acquire and maintain power that would earn him a legacy as a ruthless political theorist, The Prince. In this imagined conversation, we will confront the challenging ideas contained within Niccolò Machiavelli's 1532 masterpiece, The Prince. Far from a guide for tyrants, as it is often misunderstood, this book is an unsparing analysis of what is truly required to govern a state and maintain order in a chaotic world. Machiavelli strips away the moral platitudes and asks the cold, hard questions of statecraft. He forces us to see the fundamental conflict between political expediency and personal virtue. We will challenge him on these explosive ideas. What is the true nature of power, and how is it held? Does a ruler's morality matter, or is it merely a performance for the public? And most chillingly, is it ever truly possible to separate politics from violence and ambition from cruelty? So, sit quietly and listen carefully, because the answers may not be what you want to hear, but what you need to understand.
Mr. Machiavelli, let us start with your central figure. What is the most important quality for a new prince to possess?
A new prince must, above all, be a realist. He must see the world as it is, not as he wishes it to be. He must understand that men are fickle, ungrateful, and self-interested. He must learn to be good when it is useful, but also learn how not to be good when circumstances demand it.
You make a chilling distinction between the morality of the private citizen and the morality of the ruler. Why is this necessary?
The morality of the private man is concerned with his soul and his conscience. The morality of the prince is concerned with the well-being of the state. These two paths are often at odds. A ruler who acts with pure virtue at all times will inevitably fail to protect his state. He must sometimes do what is evil in the eyes of others in order to achieve a greater good, the security and stability of his people.
This leads us to your famous question: is it better for a prince to be loved or feared?
It is best to be both. But since it is difficult to be both at the same time, it is far safer to be feared than to be loved. Love is held by a chain of obligation, which men, being self-interested, will break whenever they see an opportunity. Fear is held by a dread of punishment, which never leaves them. Fear is a more reliable foundation for power.
You introduce two key concepts, virtue and fortuna. Could you explain their relationship for us?
Virtue is not moral virtue. It is the force of will, skill, and talent. It is a prince's ability to adapt, to act decisively, and to seize control of his fate. Fortuna, on the other hand, is the unpredictable hand of fate, or luck. It is the river that can flood and destroy everything.
So a prince must have virtue to combat fortuna.
Yes. A wise prince will prepare for the river's flood by building dikes and channels in times of peace. He will not be a passive victim of fate, but an active player in his own destiny. He must be as a lion to frighten off wolves and a fox to recognize traps. He must learn to control fortune when he can and adapt when he cannot.
You even suggest a prince should know when to break his word. Is deception a necessary tool of statecraft?
A prince who always keeps his word will fail. He must understand that men are not inherently good and will break their promises to him. To survive, he must be prepared to do the same. This is not a recommendation for constant deceit, but a sober recognition of human nature.
You argue that a prince must appear to be virtuous, merciful, honest, and religious, even if he is not. Is this not simple hypocrisy?
It is necessary. A prince is judged by the results, not by his intentions. The masses are guided by appearances and the final outcome. As long as he maintains his state and protects his people, his actions will be praised. He must be a master of theatricality, creating a public image that is both respected and revered, regardless of his true nature.
Is there a point where a prince can go too far? Can he be too cruel?
Cruelty should only be used when absolutely necessary and should be executed swiftly and decisively so as not to be prolonged. Cruelty that is prolonged or used without cause breeds hatred and rebellion. It is a tool, not a habit. The prince must avoid being hated at all costs, for that is when his power is truly in danger.
In conclusion, your advice is not about how to be a good man, but how to be an effective ruler. Is that a fair assessment?
My purpose was not to teach men how to enter heaven, but how to remain on earth. I wrote not of what men should do, but of what they do. The prince who follows my advice will be better prepared to navigate the harsh realities of politics and secure the well-being of his state.
Mr. Machiavelli, many leaders today are not princes, but elected officials who must navigate a 24/7 news cycle and social media. What advice would you give them about maintaining power in this new, transparent world?
The principles remain the same, only the stage has changed. The public image is more crucial than ever before. Your virtue is now a performance of authenticity. You must appear to be a man of the people even while making cold, calculated decisions in private. Social media is a new kind of fortune, a wild river of public opinion that can be managed with speed and ruthlessness. You must use it to create an army of loyal followers, while simultaneously using it to sow division and confusion among your enemies. The crowd will forgive a great deal as long as they believe you are acting in their name.
Niccolò Machiavelli, the exiled Florentine, offered a lens through which to view power in its rawest form. He stripped away our romantic notions of leadership and presented a world where pragmatism, deception, and force were not just options, but necessities. His counsel was not a celebration of evil, but a chillingly realistic survival guide for those who seek to rule. His legacy forces us to confront a timeless, uncomfortable truth. The ideals we hold for our leaders are often incompatible with the brutal realities of governance. He reminds us that power is not a moral reward, but a relentless struggle to be won and defended at all costs. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. And so we must ask ourselves, what price are we willing to pay for our leaders' power?